Good late afternoon, everybody. I am going to do a review on M3 Sono Kuroki Hagane, episode 2. In this episode, dang, had some small progression, but still had some things that I didn't expect to see, and it got me a little interested, Thought this episode was pretty cool, and hopefully you whoever watched it enjoyed it. Well, there's not a lot much of enjoyment into this episode, but there are some things that could be worth talking about, especially with this new character that I'm gonna mention. And when I look at it, dang, he's crazy. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this review of what I'm going to talk about, and hopefully you could piece this all together. And let's get started. Okay, at the beginning of episode 2, we end up seeing a cop entering a room that's all white light and blank. Then this strange person comes up running to the cop, slamming him to the wall or something, ends up beating him with this bat bloodily. I was like, what in the world is this guy? What is he doing exactly? He kept beating him, and a bunch of blood, a pool of blood, is spilled out right now. And then he ends up saying, "Now cry for me." And I think he gouged his eyes out. I'm thinking what the hell is this guy? I'm thinking, oh gosh, is he one of these recruiters? I think. But later I end up finding out that he is, and I go oh boy, how disgusting. Then we get to the point about after the opening, we get to the point of Imiru all saying, "Oh, I was so scared whatsoever," and so forth, saying she couldn't handle what was going on, and a couple guys says, "Oh, don't worry, I'll protect you." But later and then Akashi passed by her, and a bunch of girls ask him, "Hey," a bunch of girls surrounded him asking him "Hey, wasn't it scary when you fought this admonition or something, Then later, Imiru says, "Oh, don't worry, this guy will protect me." Akashi tells her, "Hey, let go, you stink, you know that?" And Imiru got hecka mad at him and so forth. Then we get to the scene where Raika and then Iwato ends up talking at lunch about something about the voices they heard after the corpse's song, Then we end up hearing another voice saying, "Hey, Raika, if you're not gonna eat your food, you should give it to Manashi." And we end up seeing the boy under there. And surprisingly, he acts like a kid, which kind of annoys me a bit, but I don't blame him, I don't know what he's been through. You get me? And later we end up seeing, we end up going to the training ground where the coach ends up being a freaking perverted bastard, touching Maharu with his clipboard in the chest. I'm thinking, the moment I saw that, I said, "You pervert, man." And later, he said he's gonna go, talk to Imiru, Akashi, Iwato, Raika, and then Maharu about, some skills or something. Imiru is all getting excited and so forth. I said, "Girl, just stop, okay? Just cut it out right now. This is not a time to play games, especially when he's gonna teach you something." And later, we end up seeing, the instructor walking outside alone in the middle of the night. He ends up hearing a voice, and before anything else, we end up seeing a shadow, and the moment it had a bunch of claws or whatsoever. I don't know how to say it. I can't even describe it correctly, And he looks behind, and I go that looks like a freaking centipede, but nah, not even close when I think about it, But that was my first thought and reaction. Don't blame me for this, And later, Akashi seems to be concerned about this and decides to go out, and Imiru and the boy Manashi, or I forgot the boy's name that acts like a kid, decides to follow along. Raika seems wow, I never thought this kid might want to go out and go check on the coach, And Iwato tells her there are some things connected that I may not be able to mention correctly, so be wary of that, so forth, because you grew up with him, Iwato, and so forth. And later, I think Akashi ends up angering Imiru more, and she left knowing that, oh, I can't handle this kid, And Manashi says like, hey man, you shouldn't get into a fight like that, you know? They end up fighting the coach's dead body, but not before like Akashi ends up hearing the corpse's song and sees a girl that like we saw like at the end of episode 1 and at the end of episode 1 singing. Hopefully that might be the right girl. Later like we end up seeing the dead coach's body, and the moment Minashi like licked his corpse whatsoever on his hand, I'm like thinking, dude, what the hell are you doing? And he says like, he died from being terrorized, you know, or before he died, he had a lot of like terror inside him. I'm like thinking, what do you think, man? Like this thing like just, depending what the hell happened to him, like mauled him. Of course he would have been terrified if he saw something big and so forth, you know. Later on, his funeral, and then Iwata ends up saying, I guess, hearing the corpse's song, 9 days you die. Miharu gets all scared, runs off to the room or something, and Raika tells Iwata, what the hell's wrong with you? Don't scare her like that. She goes after him, and then we go to the room where Maharu ends up trying to look at her diary, but Imuru took it. I'm like thinking, dude, that's an invasion of privacy. What is your issue right now, girl? And she ends up reading her writing in her diary and says like, maybe we should go check this out about this Reaper guy, you know? And they end up going to this abandoned hospital, but not before like a couple staff like cameraed them or took a look what they're doing, you know? And later around that time, like they got to the hospital, end up finding a door. Then that crazy psychopath that I am referring to ends up saying, hey, you guys looking for the Reaper too? And by the time Imuru calls him a brat, he says, don't call me a brat. My name is Haito Isaku, or Isaku Haito or something. But I refer to him as a crazy psychopath, which we're gonna find out later if it's true or not. Later, they end up entering the room, but Maharu ends up coming back to school surprisingly, and she goes like, she's all like being all like, she's panting really fast, like she's all scared or something, like she just saw like a ghost or something. It's like she saw a ghost, and Minashi managed to calm her down and says like, what'd you see? What happened, you know? Then there's a crazy alarm coming in, and then we end up seeing Itaru, or the crazy psychopath I call. His name is Haito, I believe, and then Imuru looking at a machine. Haito ends up entering there, and surprisingly something happened to him. And he ends up screaming in pain or screaming in terror or something, because we end up seeing a childlike form of him being all gobbled up by this darkness whatsoever.Maybe the abomination, or I don't know what's it called by that time. And we end up seeing a bunch of we see a 2 or 3 armored cars, I believe, with like Raika and Akashi piloting the machines, and they end up seeing this giant robot that appeared out of the ground, and I go like, what is that, Megatron? No, that's the first moment I thought, don't get angry about what I'm trying to tell you, like what was my first reaction. And later they tried taking it down, but it wasn't easy. Raika ends up going in trying to take it down herself. I'm like thinking, dude, stay down, girl. It's not gonna go crazy or anything. But later, Raika managed to stop it with using I believe the penetrator, or I don't know what weapon she used. And Akashi managed to save Haito, that crazy psychopath, which we find out because he killed his whole family or something. I'm like thinking, what made him kill his whole family, dude? Like seriously, what did he do? What made him do that? And Akashi managed to get him out of there. Well, I think he fell out and so forth after Akashi tries to help him. And later, by that time, he ends up having the same old reaction such as that crazy psychopath Haito did. But this time, this thing called Argent, or called the Reaper, or I don't know what it's called. I just thought of it as Megatron, you know. But you know, he accepted Akashi or something, and it ends there. And I go like, oh, that's it, huh? And then next episode's like I don't know, like surname, Seaman of a Pass or something, or so forth. Yeah. Alright, this episode was pretty cool, you know. Introduce a new character that might be one of the mains, but I call him a crazy psycho because we find out he killed his whole family. I'm like thinking, what the hell is this kid, man? What is he? Exactly, what is he? Like, we don't really know what happened to him that made him kill his whole family, but if anything, we'll find that out later during once this anime keeps progressing, you know. Overall, like this episode was okay. Well, it didn't have much progression, but overall, I'll give this episode maybe 3.8 out of 5. You know, like we don't really know what's going on. Maybe just a couple like drills about this captain whatsoever, and more information about something about the past. But introduce a new character. But this episode was okay. You know, had a little progression into it, but not a lot. You know, don't really know what's going on. But hopefully, like when we get into more episodes and it keeps progressing and telling us more detail and plot, I'm looking forward to see what's going on. So this episode's alright. I hope you guys enjoyed this review as much as you enjoyed watching the episode. I'm Alpha Zero Forum. Peace out, people. Have an awesome day. Later.